Right, we're going to start a little design project now, a little standalone design exercise, and the exercise is all going to be about something that we call exploring ideas. It's a very specific part of the design process, but it's an incredibly valuable part of it, because when you come to do your big design projects in 4th and 5th year, there are lots of marks and lots of importance attached to the phase of the project all about exploring ideas. So it's important that we understand what we mean by exploring ideas and that we practice some of the skills involved in it. So, what do we mean by exploring ideas? When do we do it? To answer those questions, we have to look at the design process so far. What have we done up till now? Well, one of the first things we do in the design process is we get a design brief and we conduct research on that. We look at the brief and we ask ourselves what are the unknowns, and we do some design research, perhaps a questionnaire, a survey, measuring, recording objects, things like that. But that's the first stage that we go through, and ultimately that ends up with us writing a specification, a detailed list of musts that the product should fulfill. After that, we tend to put the specification to one side and we look again at the brief and we come up with our initial ideas, our gut reaction to the design brief. These initial ideas are usually quite loose, quite sketchy, and probably flawed as well, insofar as they are a reaction to the design brief and not the specification. Remember, the specification describes how the end product should be, and the brief is more like a woolly sort of mission statement. So our ideas are designed to address the brief so that they're nice and creative. And once we have our initial ideas, once we have our initial thoughts about how we're going to solve the design problem, we realise that they're flawed, that they're a bit rubbish in places, and that they don't meet the specification. So we then go on to explore these ideas. And in plain English, this means that we are improving our initial idea. We look at our initial ideas, we pick the best one, and we've got to improve it. We've got to make sure that that initial idea now meets the requirements of the specification in its entirety. That effort is called exploring ideas, and it's creative and it's exploratory, and sometimes you'll take yourself down paths where you're not happy with and you have to backtrack. But exploring ideas is about trying things out on paper. It's looking at your initial idea and asking yourself, what if I do this? What if I change this bit round? How do I get this thing to be easily cleaned like the specification says? Oh, my design can only hold 4 things, but it needs to hold 6. How can I get 2 more things in there? And we change and we change and we change and we make lots of little small incremental steps, all the while trying to nudge your design closer to how it's described in the specification. That's important. The whole point of exploring ideas is to get our initial idea to be mature and match the specification and into a stage where we're happy with it, and we can take it to another stage called refining ideas. And refining is all about making decisions and getting the idea ready to be manufactured. So we're in this middle area, we're in this area of exploring ideas, of taking something which is a gut reaction to a brief, which is flawed, which does not meet the specification, and working with it, producing lots and lots of sketches, improving that idea, exploring it, asking ourselves what if, so that the product is becoming ready to manufacture. So I've got an activity for you. It's a design exploration activity. So it imagines that we've already gone through the research phase, the specification phase, and the initial ideas phase. The activity is this. A designer has come up with an idea for a counter display stand for Irn Bru cans. But so far, the idea meets only a few of the specification requirements, and the client has asked for the design to be improved. This is us going to be doing design exploration now. So your task, it says here on A3 paper, do this on whatever paper you can get, okay? You are to explore the initial idea through sketching. So you're going to be doing quite a lot of drawing here. You're going to start by sketching the initial idea for the can holder, and then, on subsequent sketches, incorporate the remaining specification points. Around each sketch, I want you to write little annotations, little notes, which explain your changes. Tell me what you're changing and tell me why you've made those changes. And here's a clue for you. The reasons for making those changes should either come from the sentences in the specification or from some other piece of design knowledge that you know. So let's imagine that you change the material. Let's imagine you change the thing from wood to plastic. Because of your design knowledge, because of what you know about plastic, you can justify that as being lighter to carry, more easily to cleanse, or more durable and long lasting. So there's two ways that we can make exploration decisions. One of them is through the specification, nudging your design closer and closer to meet the specification, or two, by applying some design knowledge that you have about materials or design factors or ergonomics or something like that. So here's everything that we've got so far. This is the result of our research, our specification writing, and our initial idea phase. You can see that our best initial idea is this little idea here. It's a very simple box with a backing on it, presumably to take some sort of branding, and space for 4 cans. We don't know what it's made from, we don't know the colour of it, we don't know the thickness of it, or anything like that. Our research has also shown us that an Irn Bru can is these sizes right here, 66mm across the diameter and 115mm tall. The research has also enabled us to write a specification too. So, this design must hold 4 cans in an interesting way. So let's look at the sketch. Okay, I've got 4 cans. Is it interesting? I don't know. Maybe that's something that we need to improve upon. All cans must be visible. The design must include dynamic, energetic shapes. So this is definitely a bit boring and stale. So we need to get some better shapes in here. The design must incorporate the Irn Bru branding, which you can see from the can here. A lot of orange, white and blue. The product must be easy to fill and empty. That's so that the shop owner can easily replenish the cans that are taken away. And it must also be easy for a customer to take the cans out. 2 final points is whatever you decide this is to be made from, it must be durable, must last a long time, withstand wear and tear, and it must be easy to clean. So let's recap your task then. Okay, we've got quite a lot of sketching to do here, quite a few pages of sketching and annotating and note writing going on here. This is our best initial idea, this is our reaction to the brief, and now we've got to do lots of little sketches which start to incorporate each of these points from the specification. So for example, let's say we started with this initial idea right here. You could ask yourself, right, how can I hold the 4 cans in an interesting way? Because right now I don't think that that's quite interesting. And that may mean that your next drawing or your next set of drawings, you're exploring little shelves or little stands, or you're changing the design to have little hands that hold the cans, or perhaps the cans are stacked on top of one another. Perhaps they're lying on their back. Perhaps there's some other sort of interesting thing you can do with them. So at least each of these specification points is going to want another drawing, an improved drawing of this. And I'm looking for 2D drawings and 3D drawings, and I'm looking for your drawings to be covered in annotations which justify, tell me what you've changed and tell me why you've changed it.